Thank you so much, Missy, and I'm so glad to be here tonight to share some history, my very favorite thing. All right, take it away, Steve. A picture is worth 1,000 words, they say, and this one is no exception. I'm going to take you on a journey through Bozeman's early history using this photograph. So prepare to go back in time to the year 1872 and imagine yourself standing on this busy street, taking in the sights and sounds of downtown Bozeman. Now, just to give you some context, this is the part of town we're going to be talking about tonight. Between Black and Bozeman streets along the south side of Main Street looking east, the heart of downtown Bozeman then and now. Bozeman was founded in 1864 not as a mining town like Virginia City or Helena, but as a place to grow crops to feed the miners and a supply center for those stopping through on their way to the mining gulches. Freight wagons were a constant visual on Main Street, bringing Bozemanites everything they needed, including food, clothing, household goods, farming implements, and so much more. Now notice the width of Main Street. It had to be big enough for a freight wagon to turn all the way around, and Main Street is still that large today. In 1872, Bozeman was 8 years old and had about 400 residents. So most of the buildings were wood frame, but a few brick buildings were being built, including this one under construction in 1872 when this photo was taken. Part of this building still stands on Main Street today. This building was a large investment on the part of four men, Leander Black, Mr. Ford, Walter Cooper, and William Perkins. It is now known as the Cooper-Black Building, so somehow Mr. Ford and Mr. Perkins were lost to history. We don't know what happened to them. But Leander Black came to Montana from Kentucky via Colorado. He arrived in Bozeman in 1869 and was a merchant, contractor, and banker. Black Street is actually named after him. He died at 51 years old, so it's been mostly forgotten to history, but he was an early mover and shaker and gave Nelson Story a real run for his money. Now, Walter Cooper arrived in Bozeman in 1870 and opened a firearms and sporting goods business. Cooper went on to serve as an alderman and on Bozeman's city council. He was elected to state legislature, and Cooper Park is named after him. So as we come back to our photograph and travel east down the street, the stretch I've circled is very important. This is where our town founder, John Bozeman, built one of Bozeman's first hotels in partnership with William and Elmira Fraser. This city hotel, as it was called, opened on Christmas night, 1866, to much fanfare. John Bozeman was murdered just a year later in 1867, but that's another story for another Pecha-Kucha. I'll be back. After Bozeman's death, the Frasers sold the hotel to a woman whose name was Lizzie Williams, and she opened the city restaurant in this space. Now, Mrs. Williams was a Black woman who had been born in Kentucky, most likely enslaved. In the early 1860s, she made her way west, settling in Bozeman in 1869. Lizzie Williams was known for her good cooking and her very generous spirit. So this is another view of the same area from the opposite direction facing west, showing where Mrs. Williams ran her restaurant. You'll also notice a barber shop next door that was owned and operated by Samuel Lewis. Samuel was a Black man who was born in either Haiti or West Indies, and that is where Altitude Gallery is located today. So Samuel Lewis not only owned his barber shop, but built houses to rent out for additional income. This is his residence on Bozeman Street on the left, and two of his still standing cottages on Tracy Street on the right. So let's go back to our photograph, and as you walk further down the street towards the far end of this photo, you would come to the wood frame structure belonging to two German brewers, Jacob Spieth and Charles Krug. This would be today where Pita Pit and Five on Black are located. They built this two-story structure right along Bozeman Creek to take advantage of the sweet and cold water needed to make their lager beer. Their brewery was the first of many breweries in our valley. Charles Krug died in 1888 at the young age of 47 years old, and Jacob Spieth followed him not long after, committing suicide in 1892 by ingesting strychnine. We do say history is not pretty. Another German brewer, Julius Lehrkein, purchased the Spieth and Krug business and turned it into the Julius Lehrkein Brewing Company that is still in operation today. So this is a view of the whole town in 1872. Boy, things have changed quite a bit, haven't they? Bozeman now fills much of this valley, currently growing by leaps and bounds. Wouldn't Leander Black, Walter Cooper, Lizzie Williams, and Samuel Lewis be amazed by the changes? So now I'm going to take you back to 2024. We only have one building standing today that was here in 1872, that Cooper Black building I talked about, and it's currently under renovation, which is wonderful. These buildings are important ties to the past, so let's make sure to hold on to them and treasure them as reminders of those who came before. And the next time you're walking down Main Street, be sure to remember the freight wagons and the wood frame buildings and the people like Lizzie Williams. Their laughter and sorrows still echo along Main Street, so listen for their voices next time you stroll downtown. And if you would like more history like you've heard tonight, the Extreme History Project has our signature event coming up on October 11th called History After Dark, The Ghosts of Bozeman's Past, where characters will come back from the dead for one night only to tell you about their lives here in Bozeman all those years ago. So thanks everyone for taking a journey with me into the Bozeman's past tonight.